Hey, BookTube, Sean here. Coming to you with a kind of out of character video for me, a discussion video. Normally I would save something like this for my blog, but I think I'll reach more people about the topic this way. Because my blog right now doesn't get a ton of hits. I'm still working on building that up. And I think this topic would be just appreciated more here than on the blog. So what I want to talk about is reading slumps and how lately especially the past couple of days, I've really been thinking about reading slumps because I haven't been getting a lot of reading done, partially because of just not a lot of time to read, but I also in that time have not necessarily felt like reading. And I think when I hear people talk about being in reading, I even called myself being slumpy in a video a couple weeks ago. And I've been talking to Juliet, a girl in a book, and she's been really slumpy. And I've told her I'm kind of slumpy myself since I had the car troubles a few weeks ago and had to deal with getting a new car and stuff. And I started thinking about it because I mentioned probably in July, in one or two of my videos in July, that I was going to have a ton of time to read in August, and I was planning I was going to get a ton read because my wife was going to be out of town for 3 of the 4.5 weeks in August, and she had work commitments that she left her out of town for 2 weeks. 2 weeks once, so she was only home on the weekends, and then she had to go out of state for certification training for a couple of weeks ago. So I had a lot of time at the house to myself, and I found myself not reading as much as I thought I would. Like I said, part of that was when my car broke down, I just didn't have the mental capacity to read. I was just dealing with a ton of shit right then, and I just didn't have the mental capacity to read. But once that got taken care of and I got into a new car, I still really wasn't reading a lot while she was gone, and I had the time to read. And I found myself watching more TV and game shows and stuff, and I thought I was being slumpy. Like I just didn't. Because I didn't feel like reading, I felt like doing other things. I thought I was in a reading slump because I had the time to read and I should have been reading, and I just didn't feel like it. So I called it being slumpy. But really, all it was I felt like doing other things that I enjoy that were not reading. And I think that is the case more often than not when we call ourselves as being in a reading slump. I really wonder how much it's being in a reading slump versus just wanting to do other things that you enjoy that are not reading. And because we have these channels where we need to talk about books, and we're in these buddy reads where we need to be reading books, we go ahead and call that we're in a reading slump because we're not reading. We don't feel like reading. We feel like doing other things. And I think that puts pressure. I think we're putting too much pressure on reading with all of our free time rather than just doing what we feel like doing. We're book lovers. We're going to read. It's not going to be forever before, if we're not reading for a while, that doesn't mean we're not gonna ever read again. We're gonna pick a book back up when we feel like picking a book back up. Even when I am what I would consider slumpy, I'm still reading a chapter of something here and there. I'm just not sitting down for hours at a time and reading. Like if my wife is at a rehearsal and I have the house to myself and a lot of quiet time to read. Lately, I've been feeling bad when I don't use that time to read. When I just watch some TV or I just mess around on the internet and look stuff up, and or or watch a movie or play a video game or something, because that's time I could be reading. Because as I've mentioned before, sometimes it's tough when my wife is home for me to get time to read because she's not a reader herself. So we don't just sit quietly and read together. So when I'm hanging out with my wife and spending time with her, we're playing board games or just watching TV and catching up on TV. So I don't get a lot of time to read then. So most of my reading time comes when she's out doing other things. So I tend lately, especially since I started BookTube, to feel bad about not reading in that time. Like, I feel like I should be reading. I did have a little bit in August where I had some arcs that I had to finish up, and that was stuff I had to do. Like, then the time crunch was on those, and I had to get those done. So a little bit, there was pressure on those. But since I got the arcs finished, there hasn't been any pressure for me to read. I'm in a buddy read right now, but it's a very relaxed buddy read. And that's the kind of buddy reads I will always... If you're ever in a buddy read with me, it's going to be a very relaxed buddy read. Read at your own pace. Let each other know where we're at, before we leave the message or something. It takes as long as it takes. I don't think I will ever be a fan of or do a buddy read that is like a structured read 50 pages a day buddy read, because then it feels like homework. And I want to read the book because we want to read the book and we want to talk about it together, not because I feel I have to read these 50 pages in a day. That's just not the kind of buddy reading that I have any interest in doing. So if anybody ever buddy reads with me, it'll always be super relaxed. I always have multiple books going on. I'm sure everybody else has multiple books going on. So I don't want pressure in buddy reads. So the buddy read I'm in right now is very relaxed. We actually, one person's finished the book, but the other two of us just took some time off at the end of the week because I didn't have a ton of time to read. So she focused on something else for a few days, and we're hopefully going to pick it up back up today. I've been fighting a migraine today, but I need to get videos recorded, so I'm working through the pain to get some videos recorded. So I don't know exactly how much I'll get read today. I want to read, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to focus on it, which is another issue with me, is I get barometric pressure headaches. So when the weather's going to change, and I'm sure even up here in Michigan, we are going to eventually get our weather affected by Irma. And I don't know when this video is going up, but anybody who is in Florida and dealing with Irma and are in Irma's path, I hope you are all well. I hope you came out of it good. I hope you're safe during this time. I'm filming this on Sunday when Irma is just hitting the southern part of Florida. My aunt lives in Cape Coral, which is directly in Irma's path. She is evacuated to Pensacola. So I'm praying that there's not a lot of damage to her house, though it looks like the center of Irma's going to go directly over Cape Coral. So I'm worried that she's going to come back to nothing. But anyway, I hope you are all safe. Houses and property and physical and material things, even though it sucks to lose a lot of memories, being alive is the most important thing. So I hope everybody is safe. Anyway, slight diversion there, because I haven't talked about it in any of the other videos I was recording today, and this is the last one I'm recording. But anyway, reading slumps. What I really wanted to talk about was, how much is it reading slump, or you just feel like doing things other than reading? And I don't think we should stress out about being in what we call a slump. I think we just need to recognize it for what it probably really is, that we just feel like doing other things that we enjoy rather than reading. It may last a couple of weeks, but we're book lovers. We will always come back to reading. So don't feel bad. Don't feel stressed about being in a reading slump. There can be a lot of pressure on BookTube. I've felt it myself since I started, of trying to get multiple books read in a week so we have a ton of books to talk about. And like I said this in my 2-week wrap-up video earlier this week, that I genuinely don't understand how people live busy lives and still get 3-4 books read in a week. I'm lucky if I get a book read in a week, 4 books in a month lately, especially lately. So people who get 4 books or more read in a week, read 20 books a month. And how do they do that with full-time jobs? Some people with kids, and I just don't get it. I mean, more power to them that they can get it in. But I know audiobooks contribute to it, but still, I don't always feel like listening to audiobooks. I feel like if audiobooks are contributing to that many books, and then all you're listening to in the car or on commutes or at work is audiobooks. And I have other things I like to listen to. I like to listen to music. I like to listen to podcasts. Stephanie, if that's what she read's, got me hooked on the black tapes. So I've been catching up with that. So yeah, I think reading slump puts a negative on not reading, instead of putting the positive on doing other things that we enjoy reading. So if you feel like you're in a reading slump, I urge you to re-examine it and not feel bad about it, and don't stress out about it. Treat it for what it probably is. It's probably just you feel like doing things other than reading. And if you don't have 4 books to talk about in your weekly wrap-up, who cares? We're book lovers. We're going to come back to the books. We enjoy watching each other's videos. If you have 1 book to talk about or 10 books to talk about, I'm still going to watch your video, because I want to hear about that book that you read and how much you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it or what you thought about it. So that's my message. If you feel like you're in a reading slump, don't stress out, because it's probably different, something different than what you think it is. And let's try and take the negative connotation out of it. Anyway, that's it for me. This has ended up longer than I planned on it being. So, and I probably repeated myself a lot. I have a habit of doing that. But thank you to all my subscribers, and if you're finding me for the first time, welcome. I hope you like the content, and I hope you hit the subscribe button to see future content. And I wish you all good reading. I'll see you all in my next video.